So let's get back to that. Were you bitter or angry at that time?
I was surprised. As a youngster, of course, when the American soldiers were around, we always had some kind of goodies whenever they come around. We just say okay, and then we get some kind of candies. When they left, it was all of a sudden, I felt like, what just happened? How come we don't see them anymore? And the mood of the country was just different from 1972 on. And the life was a little bit different as well in terms of the economy. The economics was not very well for a lot of families after that, once the American soldiers left.
Did you, in hearing about the camps, I mean, what was your life like at that time? Did you get to go back to school?
I got to go back to school, continue on my 6th, 7th, all the way to the 10th grade. But of course, the future was very uncertain. What would I do with the education? A lot of people just abandon their education and go out, find a means to support themselves or support the family. I was lucky enough to stay in school because my family had allowed me to do so. But in 1981, when the time got close to the occasion that I'm going to leave the country, I ended up leaving school before that.
How was it that your dad only had to spend 3 days in a re-education camp and your father-in-law had to spend 8 years and others had to spend years? How come he was fortunate, I guess?
You know, some got picked out, some has the record, their record somehow got lost in the mix. And I guess my dad was one of those cases that they did not have a lot of information about him.
We're going to skip over Camp Z30, and I want to go to a route right now, a picture, map. It's Ho Chi Minh City is what it is on the map. That used to be Saigon, but there was a day when you went to another city in Vietnam to leave. Tell me about that day. Tell me about what happened. How was it determined that you were going to go somewhere?
So we started out on, we left for Long Xuyên, and I still remember that morning, being 16, I was awoke by my parents, so I'll get up and get ready on your journey. Of course, they did not disclose a whole lot of information. My sister, my older sister, was supposed to be the one who take care of me along the trip.
Now, I understood you thought you were sort of going on a vacation.
Yes. My mom said, well, just go out there and have fun for a couple weeks or so. And I listened to her. Okay, but then I found out right away when we got on that bus and my sister told me about it. And then I got a little bit nervous. So
let me ask you this before we get there, though. Did you notice anything, I mean, when your mom and dad probably hugged you before you went on your vacation?
Mom was still laying in bed. It was dark. I remember I said, Mom, I'm ready to go. And he said, well, take care of yourself, son, and a few other words. And then I went.
So you got on a bus and you ultimately got down. And what did your sister say to you then?
Okay, so just keep it to yourself. Don't disclose a whole lot of information. Act naturally, because if the army or the policemen, if they see you, they will, you know, the plan would be spoiled. So I was being a student, going down to see sight scenery or to do some other things. So we got on the bus, went to Long Xuyên, which is about 4 hours the bus trip from Saigon. And from Long Xuyên, we took a little boat all the way out to I remember it took about a day and a half. And the real trip began from Ha Tin to Thailand.
I'm going to show some pictures of some boats, if we could right now. And what you told me before the show is that those boats were luxuries compared to the one that you were in.
Right.
Tell me about the one that you were in.
So on my boat, there were 19 people who survived. So originally we had 27. So you could imagine being 16, if I lie across the boat, there wasn't enough room for me to stretch. So just kind of give you a picture how small that was.
Yeah.
So we lay on top of each other or just side by side like, you know, fish almost. Then we travel for 4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days, but you were going. Where were you going?
From Ha Tien to the to Thailand, somewhere along Thailand. We just wanted to head.
So you're
to
just heading north along the. I mean, were you close to the shore, or?
I was close to the shore, kind of heading to the west, pretty much southwest. Of course, that's what I thought. I did not have any information. There were people responsible for making sure that we head to that direction. So I was very naive, being 16, that I realized, wow, they actually used this boat to cross the ocean. Then I got scared. But to make a long story a little bit shorter, is on the boat, on the trips, I remember seeing many events that to this day, I wasn't that scared back then, but to this day, when I look back, I say, wow, what just happened? How come things like that happen? I did not know anything about pirates. So
you hadn't heard at all about pirates?
We heard, but then, you know, I did not hear close to what I saw.
And you know, I got to tell you that we here today, we have CNN and MSNBC and all sorts of sources of news, and to hear that you didn't know about those is difficult for people in today's world to understand. But what kind of news were you getting at the time about the world that was going on around you?
Well, of course, there was story, but the media back then wasn't like what we have today, the internet and what have you. Back then, it's just word of mouth, talking to each other. So, wow, that family made over, but there was some event.
So there were, what, 27 people in the boat that started out. Did you have all of your belongings with you? Did you have food, and did you have a good, powerful engine?
Yeah, so we pay money to the organizer so we can make the trip. They're supposed to take care of the food and water. All we had to do was just show up and with our belonging. Some people have gold with them, some people have clothes. For me, I have my clothes and just a tiny bit of gold that my mom somehow sew in my, you know, in the trunk of my short. But then, when we got on the boat, 4 days later, we encountered this group of people. They wanted to have money. They made their way down to our boat, and they wanted money.
Pirates.
Pirates.
So, and did they 4 days later? So you're out in the sea by that time, in the South China Sea.
Middle of nowhere. Look around, water all surrounded, and of course, you know, I kind of saw my way, looked into that little opening. I saw a guy holding a gun, asking the boat owner something. What they spoke in different languages we couldn't understand. So
was he Asian?
Yes. So the boat owner was just putting hands up, well, do what you want, and of course there will be some search. And then the second encounter, same thing. They went and just searched everything on the boat, because you know they know that when the Vietnamese people left their home on the boat, they sold everything they owned, and they traded in the form of gold. So one encounter after another, these knew that they can take advantage of the Vietnamese boat people back then.
Got to interrupt you because we have to take a short break, and then we're going to get to your sister.
Okay.
We're talking with Dr. Hugh Nguyen, who is a survivor of the trip from South Vietnam to several places and has thrived afterwards, but he is describing to us the difficulties of his trip in 1981. Go to the World Affairs Council, world-affairs.org, learn more about Dr. Nguyen and others who are here, and we're very fortunate to live among us